But on that note, let's shift over to our final topic today, which is Biden's coming to Ottawa. He might be here already. He was supposed to come in this evening. He has a planned meeting to meet with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau over the next 2 days. They're supposed to be discussing a range of topics, going from Roxham Road to military spending, economic policy, intervention in Haiti, all sorts of things. I want to get your thoughts on some of these big topics. We'll kind of rapid fire hit through them. Yeah. All sorts of different issues. So with the ongoing proxy war in Ukraine, we were just talking about, with Chinese spy balloons coming into our airspace, increasing concerns about the Arctic and Russia, military spending is a big question mark right now. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I believe as a country, we are spending about less than 2% of the GDP, and that was our commitment, to spend 2% of our GDP, and we didn't do that. And I hope, but the position must be, yes, we will do that. Give us some couple of years, and we'll achieve that goal. It's important. Our defense. Actually, right now we are in a war against Russia, and we don't have the best protection of our northern borders. So it's very concerning. So
especially if Russia's on the rise and the US is on the decline, we can't be all on our own.
So we must say yes for that, and yes, we'll do our best to achieve that goal of 2% of our GDP in our defense. And we are a partner of NATO, and that's the condition. So when you sign a treaty, you must respect it.
Yeah, you must honor your goals, or else we're going to continue to lose respect from our allies.
Yeah.
Next one, the controversial Buy American requirements in the Americans' recent anti-inflation legislation. They're expected to come up in during these meetings over the next couple of days. So what do you think of these kind of protectionist measures coming from the U.S.?
Yeah, Trudeau must say, I don't like that, the Buy American. We are a free trade agreement together, and our Canadian corporations and Canadian businesses must be able to do business in the US. And what I will do, Mr. President, I will abolish the supply management cartel. Yes. So your farmers will be able to sell eggs and milk and poultry here in Canada. So Trudeau must put the supply management cartel on the table, and that will be good for Canadian consumers because prices will go down, we'll have more competition. And so, like I said, I don't know, for a long time, that must be on the table. If he's doing that, he will be able to be sure that, I believe so, that we'll have an exemption because for the Buy Canada Act. So that's what he must do.
Yeah. And that would make prices cheaper for everyone, right? I'm sure people would appreciate that in this high inflation environment.
Yeah.
Another big concern has been the ongoing conflict in Haiti. For those that haven't followed it, last year there was a military coup in Haiti, and the whole country's been very unstable ever since. And this is causing a bit of a migrant crisis in the U.S. Haiti's actually very close to Florida, and migrants have been coming over in boats and such. Yeah. The U.S. has been pushing us to take a lead role in a kind of a foreign intervention campaign, and it's.
It must be no. It must be no. They want us to lead a military intervention, and no, actually, it's not our. We cannot solve the problem of everybody. And I know that Haiti, it's just near, and they speak French like me and like a lot of Canadians. We can support them in another way, but a military intervention is no.
Simple.
Yeah.
Before we get to the last couple questions here, I want to remind everyone to put some questions in the chat. We're going to be answering as many as we can at the end of the episode. So if you have any questions for Maxime, regardless of what platform you're on, drop them in the chat now, and we'll get to them at the end of the episode. This is an interesting one. CBC, our friends over at CBC, broke news earlier today that Canada and the U.S. had come to an agreement that the Americans would allow us to close Roxham Road. This is something you've been calling for years now.
Yeah.
What did you think of this news?
It's good news, but we don't need the approval of the American to close the Roxham Road.
Their logic is we need to renegotiate the Safe Third Country Agreement to allow for other border points or whatever.
We did it during COVID-19. We did it. It was close. It was so dangerous. COVID was so dangerous that we decided as a country and Trudeau decided to close that road. So we can do it alone. But, I'm pleased that the Americans were saying, okay, you can do it. That's okay. But we must have the leadership. And we didn't do that. Now, last year we had 39,000 illegal migrants crossing that road in Quebec.
Yep.
And it's a huge problem. And every month it's bigger and bigger. We have more and more people crossing that illegal road, an illegal place to cross in our country. So I'm pleased that they will have a discussion about that. Trudeau must have done that before. But if he's doing that tomorrow because he has an agreement, that will be a good news.
Yeah, I felt so bittersweet seeing that headline. Like, oh, finally, they're going to close it. But what? They are allowing us to control our own borders? Like, it's so pathetic. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question I have for you is just, if you were prime minister right now, meeting with Biden, what would your top priorities be?
Ukraine. I will have a discussion with him, telling him that, the Canada won't participate anymore in that. And I will try also to convince him and the US to be behind a ceasefire. That would be very important. That would be my first point to discuss with him. And after that, the economic situation, the free trade and the economy. But the most important is the war in Ukraine with the escalation that we have right now. So, and actually, as you know, we are the only national political party that has a strong position against that war in Ukraine and against Russia. Yeah.
Calling for peace.
Yeah.
As we head into this multipolar world, like these peace talks are just even more important, right?
Oh,
Multipolar worlds are dangerous. There's a lot of powers. There's a lot of people butting heads.
Yeah.
And it's important to have calm minds leading countries.
Absolutely. Don't forget that we didn't have any war under Trump. Trump was taking the phone and calling his counterparts, other leaders, and telling them what's happening. And so
brokering peace deals in North Korea and the Middle East.
Yeah. So
withdrawing troops. It was an unprecedented age. And now we're right back to neocon warmongering.
Yeah. And we have, when you have the leftist party in Canada, the NDP and the Liberals and the Green being for war and not for peace and prosperity.
Everything's on its head.
Yeah.
These guys used to stand for free speech and and for peace and stuff, and now it's the far right party calling for
the common sense party.
Yes. Sorry, I've been reading too much CBC.
Yeah.